Hello, people of Reddit. Today, I have decided that rather than stealing images shamelessly from the internet and not giving them any credit, I'm going to get off my ass and actually show you what I'm talking about. So, bear with me. It probably will be a little while, and how long it takes me to do this, but I'm aiming for under 10 minutes. So, hopefully, we can do this without you having to stare at my ugly mug. Get out of there. There we go. Alright, so step one, stick figure. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that my style of drawing is very sketchy. If I like a drawing enough that I actually want to make it more permanent, I'll go over it in ink and I'll actually highlight the lines that I want to keep. Usually the only time I erase is when I'm getting confused myself. Now, as to what I'm doing here with the lines, I'm literally not doing anything. I am drawing what looks cool, and already what I was going to draw has changed 3 times. I was going to give him a shield there, nope, going to give him a shield over here. I was going to make him flying, nope, not going to do that anymore. I was going to give him a sword, no, not going to happen. In fact, I'm kind of debating whether or not I want to draw Captain America. I don't really like Captain America. I know. I will get many downvotes for this. Anyway, hopefully you can hear me amidst all my mumbling. Anyway, so what I do now that I have this fancy little stick figure here, we give him some form, because if RPGs have taught me anything, it's that skeletons don't function very well in the real world. They tend to be fragile and break. And I realize that as far as proportions go, I have apparently turned this man into Mr. Incredible. I don't really care. Most of this is going to get edited out. This is really just a rough, very, I mean, look at that. I gave him ribs that extend up past his hips. Most of this is really, really rough. Now, obviously, the way I draw is based on years, and by years I mean I read a few books, of anatomy. But ultimately, the reason that I draw this way is because I drew 20 million pictures as a kid, and my dad said, hey, I like drawing too. Here's how you draw better. So there we go. We have a nice even figure, sort of. I've kind of tweaked him a little bit, given him some form. He doesn't have feet because I have a terrible habit of making feet that look weird. At least when you're looking at them head on. Mostly because I try and put the heel and the toe. Do you see there? There you have it right there. You end up with the blob. But I don't care, because it's my drawing, and anyone who doesn't like it can go kiss my ass. So I've given him the standard superhero neck. And I don't know where I'm going to go from here. I am, however, running low on pencil lead. So I'm going to think, and I'm going to sharpen. Hey look, sharpened. Hey look, I came up with an idea. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the arms, because arms are simple. They're small, so you don't have to do a lot of work to make them unique-ish. Basically, you don't have to decide a lot on what you want to give them. But at the same time, if you just do a few lines, it won't end up looking like just a huge, solid, gaping mass, which is something that I hate whenever I look at sources of armor. Like the Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist. Love his chest plate, absolutely hate his thighs, because they just look like big hunks of metal that aren't doing anything. And as I said before, I'm going to give him a shield here. So, just kind of adding thumb, fingers. Fingers never fit flush. You never see someone, you can even see it with my hand. You'd never see someone with their thumb up against their knuckles like that. It's always like this, especially if they're holding something, because they have something in their hand. So you put the fingers over the knuckle. And make sure you don't make it too big. If you do make it too big, we have this handy little thing. You can either change it so that he's not actually human, which is what I just did here. He's got two fingers now instead of 3. And the other thing that you can do is you have an eraser on the back of your pencil, unless you're one of those people who likes to buy the arty pencils that have super soft lead. I don't. They're expensive, overpriced, I never use them, and they don't have an eraser. And as you can see, I like to erase a lot, because otherwise I end up with a horde of lines and I can't tell what the hell I'm looking at. Now I want to give him a shield, but I'll worry about that later. So I'm just doing a nice, kind of a little bit of forced perspective here. Don't really care. This is not my drawing final. I don't need to do this in a way that will please my teacher. I'm doing this because I like to make things that look cool. One sec here, just going to check and make sure. Yep, I am indeed still recording. My phone has a terrible tendency, which is also why it looks like crap, to stop recording after a minute and leave me talking to myself like some crazy person. There we go. That shoulder looks a little small. Oh, enunciate his pecs, give him a nice big Tien and Chaozu style shoulder. And he's got 2 fingers on that hand. And you know what? That hand looks a little bit different than this hand. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this hand a robot hand. It's going to have robot joints. And it's totally going to fit in reality, because that's totally how cybernetics work. Now we get to the tricky bit, making it mesh. How do you make it so that it doesn't just look like you drew some lines and stuck it on an arm? Well, you can go the Full Metal Alchemist route and attach it to his chest, or you can get a little more crazy and attach it to another part of his body. This is where some anatomy comes in, because if you've ever had the misfortune of losing a limb, or seeing someone who's lost a limb, you can tell that it doesn't just look like a regular limb anymore. It kind of gets pudgy and swollen. And that's where I just kind of add something bulbous. I don't really care about what it looks like. Now, it's got my generic character. I don't want to give him spandex, because spandex looks weird. He's got a robotic arm, and he's got a gauntlet hand. I kind of like him like this, honestly. This is simple, it looks elegant, it's a nice pose. And I'm worried that if I add too much to it, I'm going to fuck it up. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some time and see how it looks after I've erased a bunch of the lines, because I wonder sometimes if all the lines make it look too damn busy. And as Yahtzee says, I don't need him looking like he fell into a knick-knack shop and decided to wear it all. Now this is where we run into the most problems, and where I'm still kind of having difficulty doing, is that the heads, the faces, inevitably I end up with features that always end up squished, which is probably why I have a tendency to draw people wearing helmets and other things that mean I don't have to draw your nose, your lips, and your eyes. Because if I do, you'll end up looking like Ron Perlman after he's been attacked with a weed whacker. Now I don't want his shield to look normal either, so I'm going to just kind of mess with that. And there's some things in there. Aha, I know what I'm going to do with him. I'm going to give him no sword. He will just be wielding a shield like a medieval Captain America. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to give him the man with no name look and add a tarp with a nice Assassin's Creed style hood. Why? Because I feel like it. That is literally the only reason I have for doing anything. And so here we are, we're just adding details, defining lines. I'm leaving the limbs for now, because I need to see how it folds. Generally, the way things fold is you do a line perpendicular to a curve, so that it wraps around the curve. And then you just add some nice big flowing elements, to make it look realistic. Just keep it all consistent and you shouldn't have too much of a problem. And now I can get rid of a bunch of these details that I don't need anymore. Get rid of that, get rid of that. That's looking really cool, I think. If you don't like it, fuck you. It's my drawing. If you don't like it, you probably didn't sit around this long. I'm going to add some details in the back, and I'm going to darken them so that it emphasizes that they're behind him, they're in shadow. It will also serve as a nice little backdrop because instead of being black on white, it'll be white on black, which will help contrast it, like turning up the contrast filter really high on your pictures. Alright, so now he's got his shield with the horn on it. I want to make it look banded, so I'm just going to do some layers by drawing lines and bisecting it. Add in some dark areas to trick your eye into thinking that somehow I've turned a two-dimensional object into a three-dimensional object by just drawing. Basically what I do is I just pick a distance and I pick a line and I just draw straight down from that, and that's how I get shadows. Pick a distance, pick a line, and ta-da, we have shadows. What do I want to give him on his clothes? Don't know. But to add to the mystery, I'm going to give him a nose. The nose is going to heavily shade his face, along with this handy-dandy hood that I've given him, which means that, like the rest of Ubisoft, I don't usually have to render his face. So I can just keep it hidden from you in cutscenes, and you'll never see it. And there you have it. I did a whole drawing. Could I add more? Yeah, probably. Probably could make him look less like he's just wearing tights. Do I care? No. But just to prove that this is me. Bonjour, Reddit.